And yes, I gave out that symbol, not just because AJ Styles is phenomenal, but so am I. Because this week alone, 3 of my I wrote this shits have come to pass. So, I am Gary, my bro ain't here, and this is one bro doing this show. So, our top story today, from the list of Jericho, straight up, and this is a huge one, folks. Kenny Omega put an email, or a tweet, rather, up about 48 hours ago, and I am very sorry that I did not get this to you sooner, but the tweet states, with a burning Terminator hand, by the way, the one that you see when he's giving the thumbs up while he's melting in the friggin' lava, says that I will be stepping away from Japan to reassess my future. The path of my journey may change, but my goals will not, end quote. Now, I'm going to be honest with all of you. When it says I'm going to be stepping away from Japan, this could mean a lot of different things. First of all, you're looking at possibly him just wanting a break. Because he is Canadian, he may just want to go home, rest, and then come back and refight for his title against Okada. Which, if you haven't seen the Wrestle Kingdom 11 match with Okada versus Kenny Omega, go see it, because that shit was awesome, okay? It doesn't get more awesome than that. Those guys worked their heart out in that match. 55 minutes of pure awesomeness. Now, he said that his goals have not changed. That was the other part of that tweet that really caught me. Now, here's the thing. I feel like I'm being swerved, because what are his goals? Is it to be the best New Japan wrestler ever, and you just need a break? Is it, I want to be the best wrestler ever, and I want to go to WWE? Is it that I want to work for New Japan and Ring of Honor, like has been going on for the last month or two? I mean, this could mean a lot. So don't jump the gun when you first hear this. But his contract is up in February, from what I have heard. Now, he did not resign after Wrestle Kingdom 11, which has left a lot of people wondering, where are you going? Honestly, Omega at the Rumble probably won't happen. It's a possibility, maybe, but I doubt it. Him at WrestleMania again, maybe, but you know, these things with WWE, especially with new incoming wrestlers, they like to do this stuff at the beginning of the year. So Omega making this kind of statement just right before the Rumble, you know, that leads one to believe a lot of different things. I think this could be a swerve from Omega, trying to say, I'm going to WWE, but I don't want to say it, because New Japan, just a few weeks back, literally came out and said, quote unquote, you're either with New Japan or you're with WWE. And I don't think Omega has completely made up his mind where he wants to go. Now, on the WWE side, open up your friggin' pocketbook already. this guy, if he is questioning his future and his worth because he is in his prime, okay? And prime, as in prime rib, as in Optimus Prime, as in this dude is so prime, he should be on prime time, okay? Like, this dude is got a 6 out of 5 stars from Dave Meltzer for his match at Wrestle Kingdom 11, which, yes, I have seen, and yes, it is as big as the hype. I have seen it in its English and Japanese dubbed subtitled format. So, yeah, we are looking at probably one of the greatest wrestlers ever. Whether or not he steps into the WWE is ultimately his decision, but you got to believe that WWE is a possibility because so many people that were in the club that he has worked with are there already. So, more on this story as it develops. And I guarantee me and my brother, who is at a nerd convention, will definitely be covering this one. The next one that we will be covering, oh, look at the cute little doggy. Kurt Angle recently stated that he would be with WWE in April. Anybody who's anybody, and that's on the list of Jericho, knows that WWE does WrestleMania in April. Now, I don't know exactly if Angle's just pulling this all out of his ass, because we know the last time he said this, Triple H literally called him out on it and said he was just lying. And so I'm not sure who to believe anymore. He could also be telling the truth, but it could be the truth in 3 different ways. I mean, A, he could be the next cover face for next year's WWE 2K game, in which case, this has been the catalyst for a lot of people coming back and either A, going into the Hall of Fame, or B, having their last run in WWE. I mean, Brock was on this year's game. You had Goldberg on this year's game. You've had Sting on one of those games. You had Warrior come back right before he died to come into the Hall of Fame and finally bury the hatchet. I mean, so many things have happened since 2K Sports has taken over this mantra that I truly believe that could be the case. The other thing that could be the case, for months, we've been hearing American Alpha and Kurt Angle, American Alpha and Kurt Angle. Now American Alpha is in a battle against the Wyatts, and this is just speculation from moi. And it's 3-on-2, technically, so they need a third person if they're going to do a 6-person match. And who better to have in that trio than friggin' Kurt Angle? So, I mean, and then the last is that so many people want to see Kurt Angle versus Brock. But if you're a guy like me, that should be the finish line, not the starting point. I think they really botched that with Lesnar and Goldberg. That should have been a WrestleMania match, not at Survivor Series. And it should have gone longer than 1 minute and 20 some odd seconds. Boo! Now, the Rumble is also looking, and this rumor, which started after I predicted it, which is numero 12 on the liste that I freaking predicted, everybody's saying, oh, Ty Dillinger's going to be number 10. Well, gee. First of all, the bros predicted that one. And, second of all, it makes sense for many reasons. Number one, the guy does not look like he is going to go anywhere in NXT. He would be a great mid-carder right now, either for the U.S. or the Intercontinental. Get the damn U.S. title off Roman Reigns and stop having him carry that belt like it's a bag of huff on a hobo, okay? I hate the way he just carries it over his back like, oh, I don't give a shit about this thing, It's like, ugh. It's like he doesn't even like having the belt. Whereas guys like The Miz and Dolph Ziggler wear that Intercontinental strap with pride. Kevin Owens, even though he's a damn paper champion, wears the Universal belt with more pride than a guy who's wearing a belt who has at least 50-plus years of lineage on it. And it's ridiculous. It's like, respect the belt, and it will respect you back. Look at what happened with Rusev. Rusev got that belt, and instead of making him about the belt, he made the belt about him, which is obviously something Roman Reigns does not know how to do yet, which is why he is not the guy. He is just a guy in the locker room, which is why everyone boos Roman Reigns, because he just doesn't understand yet. He is not a privileged one yet. He was in the Shield. I will give him that much. But he needs to act like a champion before he is respected like a champion. Guy like Ty Dillinger, if he ever got the U.S. or Intercontinental title, that dude would be over the moon. With how many fucking times I had to listen to people shout 10 back in November during the Survivor Series NXT Canada weekend, I don't think I'm ever going to forget the number 10 ever again, because that is everybody's freaking favorite thing to shout other than SAWFT soft, in the crowd. Like those, he is so over. He may not even need to win the NXT title at this point because he's over with the crowd. I know a lot of people say, oh, I don't think that many people see NXT anymore. Bullcrap. And do you want to know why I say that's bullcrap? Because there's more than one way to skin a cat. You do not need the WWE Network to see NXT. It is on Hulu too. So, the fact that people want to act like, oh, NXT, it's not anything because it's only on the WWE Network. I can get that crap online if I wanted to. So these guys are out there. They're putting themselves out there. They're getting their names out there, which is why Ty Dillinger is so over. I don't think he needs to win the NXT title. I think the Royal Rumble would be a great place for him to start and have him win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal at this year's friggin' WrestleMania. That would be a great place for him to gain a good footing. Look at what it did for Cesaro. Didn't do much for Big Show, but it's done a lot for Baron Corbin. I mean, since winning that Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, he was in a match for the WWE title against AJ Styles and Dolph Ziggler. I mean, give him a shot. I think that Ty, he knows his way around the ring. He knows what he's doing. Let him come in at number 10. Let him remove one or two guys from the ring and then let him get eliminated by Goldberg or the inevitable Brock Lesnar and call it a day. But I think the hype behind that would be huge. Next one on the list of Jericho would be that NXT San Antonio, the main event is set, which is the night before the Rumble, and we are looking at Shinsuke Nakamura versus the glorious one, Bobby Roode. Now, I predicted that Bobby Roode would be the NXT champion by the end of 2017. I think that by the end of 2017, that will most likely be the case. Will he take the title off Nakamura in January? I don't know, because that doesn't sound like a good thing. I think WrestleMania will most likely be when he takes it off of him. I think they'll build around what happens the night before the Rumble, and they will go from there. But I think that Roode is a very accomplished capable ring athlete. I think Shinsuke is a very accomplished wrestler and MMA fighter. I think the two could definitely make magic in that ring. With how long Roode's been in the business and how long Shinsuke's been in the business, those two are going to possibly outdo the Rumble. And, it sucks sometimes to say that NXT is better than the rest of the WWE, but the truth therein lies the truth. I mean, if you look at what happened in November, I don't think WWE wants to make that mistake twice, which is why they need Omega for the Rumble or WrestleMania and get the hype on the main roster. However, if you were to ask me who I think would win in January, I'm going to say Nakamura. I do think these two have a rematch. I do think that Nakamura will eventually lose and then go up to SmackDown. So that is my prediction on that one, and we will see where my oracle sense is on that. The next one is that Broken Matt and Jeff Hardy were told this past week, I believe, by TNA and all the idiots like Dixie Carter and Vince Russo and all the dumb shits that run TNA, that you now have to make yourselves exclusive to TNA. Because we don't want Broken Matt and Jeff Hardy or Brother Nero or whatever they're calling themselves to go to other places and use the Broken Matt and Brother Nero thing. And I'm hearing this, and I'm like, really? You guys had this total nonstop deletion thing where they invited people from Ring of Honor and this place and that place. They even invited people from WWE, even though they didn't come. But the fact of the matter is that, if you're going to lock somebody into a contract of this type, you need to pay them what they are worth, plus the net expenses they would be getting on the road in the indies. If you cannot afford to do that, I guarantee, just like AJ Styles, just like Christian, just like Samoa Joe, just like Booker T, just like all these guys that went into TNA and walked right out of it, they're going to walk away too. And do you want to know why they're going to walk away? Because you tried to lowball them. And lowballing a wrestler who reinvented himself on your watch that is completely unfair. I mean, I really hope Matt and Jeff go back to the WWE because they deserve a little bit more respect than that. And they would probably get a Legends contract where they would have limited work. They would be given a prime spot, most likely on Raw, because they need tag teams like, Matt and Jeff would be a godsend to Raw because it sucks. I can't even get through a Monday Night Raw because I fell asleep in the last one. It's like, ugh. Like, I couldn't even stay awake for the Kevin Owens show. I had to go back and watch that again. But having Matt and Jeff on Raw would most certainly be a great thing. Their contracts are up in a couple of weeks. They could be surprise entrants in the Rumble. So you never know there. In that sense, I'll keep you updated on that story. But given what's happened to TNA over these last couple of months with Corgan suing them and them having problems with electrical problems at Bound for Glory and them having issues with just payment of their wrestlers, it's ridiculous. I would not want to work for a company like that, I'll tell you. Next on the list is that Shelton Benjamin did state earlier this week that he would not be able to return in time for the Rumble because his shoulder just is not yet in shape. And, I wish that guy only the best. It really sucks that he did not get to come back right after the brand split, which was what was planned. I think that he wanted to, and I think he has every intention of coming back after he is done. I think he was hoping he'd be through his rehab by now. Apparently, that's not the case. It will more than likely be WrestleMania-ish or before he makes any kind of a comeback. But, after whatever they're going to do for February, I think I would start looking out for Shelton Benjamin promos because that's really when they're going to want to start hyping him again. I think that, wrestlers, and SmackDown especially, because he was going to be on SmackDown Live. SmackDown Live has really made a very good situation out of a very bad crop of wrestlers. I mean, if I would have told you right after the draft, that SmackDown's women division would be better than Raw's women's division, you'd have called me insane. But the issue isn't necessarily the quality of wrestling. It's the fact that they only focused for half of a year on two wrestlers. Two. Sasha Banks and Charlotte. Now, I get the lineage with these women. I get that. They're going to have some pull in the company. But there are other women that people like in that company. Hey, I want some Bayley. And that is finally going to be a match at the Rumble. I hope to God Bayley finally hands Charlotte her first loss at a pay-per-view, because if it's Charlotte again, I'm going to puke. But quite honestly, this is going to be a very interesting Rumble. I think that it is going to make... I think that getting back to my point, SmackDown, despite all the injuries, despite not getting who they wanted, despite going out there and looking for talent and not getting it and not being able to get it, or not being able to bring certain people up because NXT needed them very badly. It goes without saying that I think SmackDown should definitely be commended for their efforts throughout this year versus Raw, which Raw had all the great talent, and yeah, they lost a few people like Finn Balor, so I'll give them that, but you still had great talent. I mean, Jericho was one of the most funnying, amusing acts of the year, and yet you still weren't able to capitalize on that with Raw. It's like Raw has worse ratings than SmackDown now? The fuck? You know? That is almost never happened. Though it has happened before, and that was back when you had the SmackDown 6, which was at least 13, 15 years ago. But I think that, you have a SmackDown 6 in their women's division. You have a growing division for their main roster. And you have a lot of guys that are flexible. Like Dean Ambrose is a wonderful guy to float between the WWE title and the Intercontinental title. Again, Dolph Ziggler, top guy, great guy to float between the Intercontinental and the WWE. Miz is an IC title guy only, because if you give this guy another WWE title reign, I'm going to puke, because he don't deserve it. And there are other people who could move up that would deserve it. Shinsuke Nakamura. But, it goes to show how much hard work is to the WWE. And why WWE probably saw that tweet from Kenny Omega and is probably salivating at the mouth wanting him. I know they're just looking at their watch, waiting on guys like Finn Balor and Shelton Benjamin, probably more so Finn Balor than the latter. But, they need these guys back. They want these guys back. And I think next year, barring any major injuries, next year could be a lot better than this year. 2016, because it is 2017. Whoops. But, 2016 wasn't all bad. But I do feel like 2017 could definitely be better. Monday, we have Undertaker coming up. So I will report to you on Tuesday about that. I will tell you what, if any, impact Shawn Michaels had on Monday. And I will tell you as much as I can about the previously reported stories on Tuesday. For Gary and the nerd who was out at a convention today, I hope you get home safe. And this is Gary Maloney signing off.